Welcome to Runtime, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sophia. We're finally back. Yeah, thank you. Calm down. All right, that's enough.
It's good to be
Yeah,
back.
it's good to be back. I'm joined as always by my co-host and star of this show, Zac Hall.
Cool. I was about to hit my applause button and you got me.
No. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're really going for you there.
I'm digging it.
Yeah. It's been a little bit of a while. Riverside held our last episode hostage, and yeah, we couldn't export it for the longest time, but that should be fixed now, hopefully.
I mean, I think that the previous, like the hostage episode, will have been out when this one comes out.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's cool. That's what happened, and I actually don't know what happened. Like, we were on the free trial, and so from my perspective, we're good. And then today I paid the subscription fee to continue using the service because we like it. We like Riverside so far. But what happened? I don't even know.
Yeah. So I think the issue was like I was trying to export it, and it would not export. I couldn't export any of the files individually. I couldn't export the edited episode at all. I couldn't, like, literally nothing was working. I couldn't export any of the timelines or the chapter markers.
Like,
nothing.
you'd done a full edit and then you couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Release. Okay.
I spent something like 2 hours in the edit and just like trying to like cut everything down and like filling with the audio and everything. And I was like, okay, now I can export it into Resolve and edit the stuff that I can't do in Riverside. And I went to edit and I clicked edit and it was like, cool, it's on this way. And then I checked back 30 seconds later and it failed.
Okay.
And then I tried it again and it failed. And I was like, oh no. So I copied the full unedited version and just did a plain export without any of the edits. And it failed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do we know why?
No. They did not tell us why. And basically, whenever I reached out to them, they were like, oh no, we're still investigating this. So now, 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
they finally came back and was like, hey, it looks like it's worked. And so now we have to just export it again at a higher resolution and hope that it has worked. Otherwise, we might be in another export cycle, but hopefully not. Hopefully it has worked, and hopefully the edited version exports, more importantly.
So listeners and viewers will know. We don't know yet. We'll see.
Yes, if you listen to the last episode, then you will know that it has worked. If you listen to this episode and there is no last episode, then it has failed, and we are just deciding to move on.
Ooh. It's 2 weeks, so I don't remember. And it wasn't even like we didn't record again because we couldn't get the episode out. I was doing some travel and then had a little busy week this week, so I was sort of like off out of pocket for a couple of weeks. But it would have held us over, but it got held up. And I just want people to know, viewers and listeners, that when I pitched, so I pitched this podcast on social media, and Sophia emailed me and sort of put her hat in the ring, and then I was immediately like, you're the winner, because of different reasons that were obvious to me. And then we talked in video, and I was like, I've done podcasts before for years professionally, and I'll do the edit, don't worry. And I've never done video before, but I got that too, don't worry. And then I think I did like the first one. And then Sophia obviously is more video minded and just better at computers than me, I think. And so
stop it.
And so did a much better job on the second episode, and has just stuck with the edit. And because it's video first, it's a that's where the edit is. So like last week, from my perspective, was like, if this was audio, I could nail it, but it's video, and I felt like my hands were tied, and that the problem was in good hands with your hands. So.
this situation is sort of like an impossible one, I think, for both of us, because when the tools don't work, they don't work. And if they're holding your episode hostage, then what can you really do, right?
Yeah.
Thankfully, it should be resolved. And
Cool.
hopefully we won't have any of these issues going forward. But that's not to say that I have not had issues with Riverside before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've certainly encountered like the fail to export thing when I was trying to export just the timeline, which has no video or audio. It's just the markers. And that failed to export. But the video has always exported successfully.
I see.
It just didn't this time. And
I see.
Yeah, I think it failed in a rather catastrophic way.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I feel like, I don't know, this gets into like ethics of like building a product that like consumers rely on and like they're on like a schedule and everything. But and this is like the product engineer like coming out in me.
Sure.
But I feel like when you have an issue that results in data loss, like it feels a little bit like a Sev 1 issue to me, if not like a Sev 0. And I'm not entirely satisfied with the way that they handled it or like how long they took to handle it.
I see. Yeah, I see that. Is Sev mean severity?
Yes, sorry.
That's
Yeah. So in like, I don't know, like when you have like a live service, for example, like when I like you used to work at like Twitter and like various other social media companies,
That's cool.
you have severities and we call it like SEV. So it's like Sev, and then Sev 0 is like the most severe, like the site is down and
Fell well.
nobody can access that kind of thing. Sev 1 would be something like you're hitting posts and like maybe they're getting posted like half an hour later and there's like a really big delay and it's not hitting SLA. So that is like a Sev 1, like it's really bad, but at least the site isn't like totally broken for everybody kind of thing.
What
And
is
then it
this?
sort of goes down from there.
What is the SevLev? And lev means level. I just made it up. What is the SevLev for when a tweet embed wouldn't show the rich preview in messages? Because that happened from time to time.
That's like a Sev 1. But it also depends on like the environment that it's being shown in.
Yeah.
So sometimes ad blockers can have an effect if they have like block lists that disable specific embed trackers on like a web page or like specific domains, and like we can't, like the embed is not able to then access or pull any of like the CSS from whatever CDN is trying to pull from.
Interesting. Yeah, I've written more than a couple of stories about, like, we generally cover outages whenever a tech service goes down, because it helps people be informed, like, it isn't just you, and then B, they do really well because people care. And so anytime the messages app would show a tweet preview, it would just show the URL. It was like, okay, something broke. And so we'd write a story, that it isn't just you, like this is not, and then now it's resolved. So that's interesting. I had some issues last week myself. So I went to, my aunt and uncle flew me and the kids to South Florida to visit. And for what my kids have is Mardi Gras break. It's a full week off for Mardi Gras, which is really just Monday and Tuesday of the full week. But it's and there's separately spring break, so I don't know. It's that's cool. So we went to my aunt and uncle's house, me and my two kids, and a friend named Astrid works at Universal, and so we drove up to Orlando for one of the days, and she had passes for us to attend Universal at no charge. So it's one of her work perks. So that was really cool. It was really cool seeing my two kids hold hands throughout Universal Studios and just have a blast and ride roller coasters and have a great day and be kids. That's like locked into my mind now as like a core memory of them holding hands and running through the park.
That's so cute.
Yeah, really, really cool. We had rapid passes too through staying on property. Again, my friend has a discounted rate for that way. And so we had rapid passes where you can skip most of the lines, but you couldn't skip the line at the Harry Potter Hogwarts like motorcycle roller coaster because
Oh.
but my son Rory was 2 inches too short to ride the Velocicoaster, and that made him tear up. And so
Oh.
they gave him first a height certificate that says when you're 51 inches, come back and bring 5 of your friends and skip the line. So that's cool. And
I didn't know that's a thing.
I know, it's really cute. And then the next thing they gave was like I don't think they knew that we had rapid passes for that day, but they gave us rapid passes for everyone in my family group for any ride, which included it was specifically for the Harry Potter roller coaster because he was tall enough for that one, and that has no rapid pass line. So in the wait time was like an hour and 35 minutes, but we got to just go up to the front and that was his first roller coaster ever. And he was on the very front of it, and it's like a motorcycle and a sidecar, and he was on the motorcycle, so it was neat.
That's awesome.
That was cool. But before any of that happened, I realized on Monday at 2:00 in the afternoon before our flight at 8:15 that evening that I couldn't locate my wallet with my ID in it. And so I, searched my house over, it's like, it's hard to get through TSA without your ID, especially with 2 kids. And could like just determine that I had lunch with my daughter at her school on the Friday afternoon before, and they're closed for Mardi Gras break. I couldn't get in touch with anybody, but I bet that's the last place I had my ID, and it fell out of my pocket there when we were eating lunch. Not actually what happened, but I didn't know that at the time. But went to the DMV because I was like, hey, I got a flight tonight and I didn't need my ID, and they're like, okay, we'll try to get you in. 2 hours later, they didn't get me in, but they closed. But I found like an email that I'd sent something for business, and it had my front and back of my ID, and I was able to on my iPhone scan the front and back using like the mobile ID state app for digital driver's license for Mississippi, and that worked. And so I was like, okay, well, at least got this to show, and everything showed like the airport takes it, no problems. But I already had like a folder full of documents with my name on them for the DMV in case that was necessary. So we go to the airport, me and 2 kids, and we get there in plenty of time, like 2 hours early in case there's an issue with getting through. And they're like, yeah, we take the mobile ID. No, they didn't. They take it for Louisiana because it's the airport in New Orleans, but they're not prepared yet for Mississippi, the neighboring state, where like that is their airport too. Okay, no problem. And I also like, it's not the Apple Wallet version of a digital ID, which I think is more accepted. It's a mobile ID app that has like the star, and it's like verified and everything, and you can even like have a QR code present and agree to share this stuff. So, but it didn't work. So I had to like show my birth certificate that I had with me and some documents with my name on it, and then wait for an hour and 20 minutes to answer like 3 questions to the TSA agent, who is so kind. And they had to like be on hold for 45 minutes to get to the person. But then it was like, okay, you're through. But then the experience was like everything in my luggage had to be scanned with like some wand that had to be like re-wanded every time they scanned something. And no one at the airport was happy waiting on me for that process, because there were people whose like luggage just didn't go through the right way, and they had to wait for an inspection as well. So that was a lot of fun. It's stressful. Like, it's stressful going to the airport. It's stressful being a single dad with 2 kids in public places. And that was even more stressful because it was like, but we had plenty of time and we got through. It was fine. And then on the way back, I knew to do the same thing again. And it was a much smoother experience. To get home. And then it was like, school open. I went first thing in the morning when school opened. It's like, hey, I had lunch here before school closed. You remember me? I had to show you my ID. We were right over there and pointed to the chair, and I was like, I think my wallet's over there. So they go look, and there's nothing. And so they just take my information. And then that was like 9 a.m. At 10 p.m. that night, it occurred to me that I may have left it at my ex-mother-in-law's house, because I picked up the kid's uncle on their mom's side and went in to visit for like 10 minutes. and sat in a recliner. And so I was like, "Hey, Jared, can you check the recliner for my wallet?"
No.
And they were like, "We haven't seen it, you know." And then they said, "We found it." And so such a relief, because I was about to like go and pay for, you know, and it had like all the medical card stuff and like you know, debit like all that stuff. So it was really nice to find it. Since then, I've resorted to putting my ID in the like MagSafe iPhone wallet case. It's I loved the leather ones. This one's one of the fine woven ones that Apple had sent with the iPhone 16 review unit, and it's not black either. I love black. This is like dark blue. Don't love it, but I'm not going to lose this, I don't think. So I feel better because I always know where my phone is. I used to have a Chipolo like credit card shaped tracker, because I wrote a post one time that was like, "Universe, I dare the universe to take my wallet again," because I'd like lost my wallet in a doctor's office and it had $500 cash in it, and like I knew who took it but couldn't prove it. And after that, so like I bought the Chipolo thing and I was like, "I dare you to like take my wallet again, universe." And then the Chipotle thing didn't even like die out. It was that it cracks a little bit from pressure of like having it in my back pocket and sitting on it. So no bueno there. But yeah,
Wow, that
reunited with my ID. MagSafe wallet. Fine woven's terrible, but it's better than nothing. I don't like having to take off my wallet to do things like use the MagSafe adapter to use my phone as this webcam. I'm charging, you know, with MagSafe. I love MagSafe for charging and those kind of things. And the wallet thing is helpful. I like to use my phone caseless, so it's better than like a wallet case. But, you know, mixed bag there. None of that was planned, by the way. I just want to tell you I went to Universal. So, hi.
Well, congratulations on going to Universal and getting the VIP experience. But uncongratulations for losing your wallet in an armchair.
Yeah. Also realized right before takeoff with the kids that didn't do anything to prepare them for offlineness. So like iPad's fully charged and everything. But no, it was like, oh. So on the way back, I resolved that issue. But
do they understand like being offline?
Yeah, my daughter totally does, and she happened to. I think she had games. She was fine. She had games, but my son did not expect that, and he's 7, and he was like, "But I saw a sign that said ultra high speed internet," and I was like, "You know what? You're right. You did see that. That's to pay for, and I'm not going to pay for that. It's not going to be reliable." And so like that really just set him back. But I'd found that I had downloaded the movie Transformers 1 like several months ago on his iPad, and it was still there. So he watched that on repeat. And so, and the kids even used, I did with them audio share. Like, so he has Beats headphones, like over the ear ones, because AirPods are too small for his ears, or too big. I don't know. But so I did that and did audio share, and like we watched the movie together. It was really cool. So, hey, there's a tech angle to that. Besides,
at least it worked out.
Yeah. So that was cool. Another story about my son to come. But you sent me the trailer for the Freakier Friday movie coming to Disney.
Oh yes, I literally just saw this like right before we started recording. But yeah, it's like a sequel to Freaky Friday. I guess everybody's older now, and then they're like doing the Freaky Friday thing again, but now
with
it's
grandkids
freakier
now.
Because now there's like more people involved, I guess. But I sent that to you because of Hot to Go.
Yeah,
by Chappelle Roan.
That's right. Yeah, I have a story for that song for Hot to Go. My son loves it and requests it in the school line.
Oh gosh.
And sings it like the chant, like HOTTOGO. He yells it out, and I'm just happy that he's like happy. And I guess he was singing it at school, and a kid said, let's see, he said that a friend of his changes it from HOTTOGO to, it's something to do with hot dogs, but he sings HOTTOGO. He sings HOTDOGS, and then it's hot dogs are literally the best. So that's Hot to Go. Hot dogs are the best. So that's what I've got for that. But it's just my kid. You know, hey, what can I say?
Oh, kids.
Yep. Another note, the heat is back in my recording environment. And this week I'm not even in my office where like it gets the hottest or the coldest. I'm in my bedroom. Again, thanks to Rode for sending us microphones and recording equipment, because I was able, I have two. And so I just moved the Rodecaster Duo interface to my bedroom, and then plugged in the I have like a desk in here with the another mic set up and headphones, and it was so easy to do. So that's awesome. Thanks, Rode.
Yeah, these things are awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the sound effects are just fantastic.
I agree. It's like yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah. Why am I telling you this? Because the heat's back. I'm running a fan. I don't think we can hear it. We tested it. That's cool. That helps. But I had my glasses on because I usually just wear my glasses, and they were fogging up like crazy with the return of the humidity. And so, solution: contacts. I got contacts like a few months ago. I wore them in my 20s when I was single and dating. And then when I got married, I was like, no, contacts, don't love those. I have astigmatism, so they kind of like are hard and hurt. Mm-hmm. But I got contacts again because I went to get I did a LASIK consultation, so if I could like not have glasses at all. Mm-hmm. And the goal of that was to get Vision Pro and like try it out.
Yeah.
Because you have to have lenses to use Vision Pro. Zeiss makes them, but not my prescription is too strong. So LASIK, the guy was like, I won't do this for you, but my partner will do anybody's eye, so he'll do it. And I was like, okay, no thanks, because he was like, it's not going to help you very much. Your eyes are very, very bad. Okay,
they have like different types of LASIK now, right? Like it's not like LASIK is like Smile or something. It's for like people with really bad prescriptions.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I'll look it up later. I don't know about
you
Smile.
You should take a look back into it, because there's like a lot of different types. I got my LASIK done years ago. Or
really?
Not years, maybe like a couple years ago.
That's years.
Best decision of my life.
That's awesome. See, my brother-in-law did it. He like went in one day and paid cash, and like 2 days later he went in and had it done, and he loves it. And so that also got me thinking about it. But yeah, no go for Vision Pro. And then I still like Zeiss would reject they wouldn't even like sell me Vision Pro if I were to buy it, because at least if I said I needed glasses, and I hated contacts, and no, but Zeiss, like I gave them my prescription, and they wouldn't make lenses that way because it was like out of their range of what they can probably sell at bulk. But I photoshopped my prescription to be within a range. This is probably not great. To be within a range that Zeiss would make. It's like, this is, and it wasn't like my left eye, they'll make the lens for that, no problem. My right eye with the astigmatism, they will not. But if I changed anything about one eye, the other one had to change too. So then I ended up with like two lenses that were not actually like right at all, but it was as strong as they could be, and it was like ballpark range. And it made a difference. Like I could actually then use Vision Pro, but the whole thing was like, I have reviewing it from Apple, so I can like write about it and test it and everything and experience it. But I didn't have contacts yet. And so I did the photo. I didn't tell them this, but I did the photoshopped prescription.
Oh my God.
And got it that way. So there's that. But then I broke my sunglasses and got contacts because my sunglasses were prescription, and I was like, I just want to buy sunglasses that anyone can use now, and got contacts, and but that's the solution for when it's hot and humid and my glasses fog up when I talk, and so I literally put them in just for this. So that's a lot of information.
Yeah, but I am honored that you're willing to put in your uncomfortable contact lenses just for this dumb little show. But thank you for that.
Yeah. One more thing before I go. I learned this past week that with let's see, mobile podcasting. So I learned that my car, the native USB-C ports, not the adapter for the 12-volt outlet that I have. I can get a stronger one that will work, but with the native USB-C ports, it's strong enough to power the Podcaster Duo, which is powered by USB-C, but it's like a big, high wattage one. Not just any, voltage or wattage will do, but my car will do that. And so that allows me to use our XLR mics. And now I really want to get like a little, we have like attached to the desk stands, but I really want to get just like a portable, stand to take it anywhere and like put it in the middle of the car and record from the road if I ever need to. But I was impressed that it would do that and like plug into and I also recorded a pilot episode of a Bloomberg podcast that Mark Gurman is starting for his Power On newsletter. Now that he's the managing editor of consumer technology. Way to go, Mark.
Big shot.
Yeah. Mark's like my mentor. He hired me at 9 to 5 Mac in 2013. So like he's my on ramp to life, or career wise. And I don't think like the pilot gets released because it was just like, let's just try this out. But I was able to use Riverside on the iPad. So I was iPad only for that period, and then use that. So that was cool. So, it's not all downside this week for Riverside, and we're using it now. So it is,
Yeah.
But now we're paying customers too. So, I mean, you mentioned the severity stuff. It's like, well, maybe they didn't care because we're on a free trial. Although that's when you want to convince people, like,
exactly.
You want to sell them.
Right. I don't know. They've unsold me a little bit, but it's still like the best way to just have like an all-in-one thing, and then also get guests on here.
Yeah.
Right. Like the thing with guests is like you have to trust them normally that they have like a decent setup, but like with Riverside, you sort of don't have to anymore. Like any mic will do, any like video will do.
The Bloomberg pilot episode that will probably never be released was through Riverside, and they had, it's Bloomberg, of course, so they had a producer that was goes off of the screen in producer mode and can control stuff and everything. So that was
We don't have a producer. We're very low budget here. But
I mean, we're doing this for free, honestly, because I wanted to do a podcast again, and I want to wait until we're at like 10,000 subscribers to pitch advertisers.
Yep.
And have a track record of stats to go off of. And then I was going to do all the editing work, and then you did it or are doing it. If anyone wants to pitch in, I don't know if you want to offload anything, but we're doing this for free for now. We'll do it for money in the future.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get some big time sponsors.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, that's an incentive for all of you, the listeners, to subscribe if you have not already, and follow the podcast if you have
follow
on
Apple Podcasts. I don't know if we're in Spotify. We should be, but we're probably not. So I'll fix that this weekend. And we also post to YouTube at youtube.com/9to5Mac.
Yes.
So that's where our video feed goes. And so that's cool. I want to hand this over to you for a little bit so I can not talk the whole time. What do you have for us this week, Sophia?
Yeah, well, the first thing is that there's a new Waymo service area. It is Silicon Valley, so where Waymo was born, and it basically includes like parts of Mountain View, parts of like Palo Alto. What else does it include? It includes. Let me just. Why am I not able to click this link?
Oh, so it's Silicon Valley. Let's see. So this is Mountain View, Palo Alto, Los Altos, and Sunnyvale.
Yes.
As opposed to San Francisco, which is not Silicon Valley, it's the Bay Area. Sorry, I'm not from California.
Yeah. So, well, we sort of call all of this the Bay Area because it is sort of like it's all around the Bay. San Francisco is on the peninsula. So the San Francisco service area includes San Francisco, the city, and also Daly City. So we call that the SF service area. And then there's like a giant stretch like all the way down the peninsula in which Waymo is technically allowed to operate, but they have not opened the service area there yet. And then you get down to the end of the bay, and we call that South Bay. So South Bay includes like San Jose and like, Mountain View, Cupertino, all of that stuff. Like that's where all the big tech giants like Google and Facebook and whatnot are.
I think Apple's there. Yeah.
Apple is there. The Spaceship Campus. And so that is the new service area. What I was a little bit surprised about was that they didn't open this service area sooner. Although I guess they really did just, get a permit for it. But the Waymo offices are down there.
Oh.
So I guess for the longest time, they couldn't even hail their own service.
like I've seen when I'm in the area, I've seen like I'm in a rental car going to the airport in San Francisco, coming from San Jose or Cupertino, and so I've seen Waymos on the highway. But those are what are those doing? They're taking people down and then coming back, or
So the Waymos on the highway are employee only, and
Oh.
they're test vehicles. Highway service is not enabled yet for any of the Waymos anywhere,
oh, okay,
but they are going to enable it. And my personal like theory is that they're going to enable both of these areas, right? So they have the San Francisco area, and then they have this South Bay area. And once South Bay reaches general availability, because it is currently sort of like on a waitlist system, like you can open the app down there, but like you're not going to be able to use it until you're off the waitlist. They're going to connect those two areas with the highway.
okay,
That's my
Cool.
theory. And
Okay,
then
that's
they're
your
going
okay.
to fill in everything like in between.
yeah, nice. Self-driving cars are coming.
Yeah. Well, they are here.
They're here. As we
yeah,
often
they're
remind
here.
people, they're here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a daily thing in San Francisco. Like literally, you cannot go 5 minutes without seeing one of these. The other thing is the new ride vehicles for Waymo. The Zeekr ride vehicles are uncamoed now. Before they were testing and they were like all in camo, but now they're showing like they've got the wraps off, and you know you can just look at them and they look like normal cars.
Nice.
So I think those are coming pretty soon also if they're testing like without the camo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tesla should have so much autonomous data for the Gulf Coast of Mississippi and anywhere between New Orleans and Mobile, Alabama, because I think I log like a couple hundred miles a week of like different routes from with self-driving,
Yeah.
uninterrupted, like, and if there is something that happens, then I always like do the voice report of like, hey, the sign said 15 miles per hour if the light's flashing, and it was flashing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you wanted to cruise ahead at 55 miles per hour. Yeah, that's cool. Cybertruck. I just read this on the related story to the Waymo story on The Verge, but it's that Cybertruck deliveries are on hold because the trim's flying off. What is this story?
Yeah. It's like another one in a long line of Cybertruck recalls. The trim on like both the outside and sometimes like the inside are just like coming off because apparently they're glued on. And the glue is not surviving very well. So, you've got pieces of your supposed bulletproof truck that is not, it's not staying on the truck. I don't know what else to say.
I see.
I don't know. This entire Cybertruck saga, I've said this before, but it is so silly, just in the worst way possible. It's like, it's funny, but it's unfortunate funny,
I mean, not really disclosure, but just reminder that my best friend Jacob, I'm pretty sure I told you this, but he has the Cybertruck. He was on the list to buy it already, but then he was in a Tesla referral program sweepstakes and was chosen to be the winner. And so,
oh wow,
have I told you this before?
No.
Okay, so he has the Cyber Beast, the Tri-Motor Cybertruck, that he received like absolutely for free, like paid the taxes on it, and that was it, and tag it and all that. But last May, he had the Model 3 Performance from 21, all black, and then he had a Model X that's also like blacked out, and he wanted to have like the 3 Teslas there at the pickup location, so he could photograph his 3 babies together.
Sure.
And he kept his kids. He has 2 boys, and I have 2 kids. I have a boy and a girl, and so he kept his kids out of school, and I did the same that day so that we could all like, go up there and like, see him receive his like giveaway Cybertruck. And
Okay.
so he has a free Cybertruck, and because he won the free Cybertruck, then he like that allowed me to take over his Model 3 performance. And then
So
like
that's where you got yours.
that's where I got mine, is because he won his, then he was like, no pressure, like pay me over time for this, and that's what I've done.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where mine came from. Funny thing though was his Model 3. There's a lot of things here, but he had the valet at a hotel in Atlanta total his original Model 3 performance.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was, the guy went for a joyride and like, destroyed the vehicle while like he was with his family in the hotel, like asleep.
Oh my God.
And I think like Tesla, someone called and was like, hey, crash detected. Like, what's, and he's like, no, we're good. We're asleep. And then, they realized what happened was like, yeah, the valet guy took it for a joyride and like, destroyed it. Guy was okay. Totally okay. Which, is what people always say happens in like Tesla vehicles, because they're, say what you want, or, all criticisms of the company and the founder and the vehicles aside, like I think they proved to be safe vehicles. In terms of like crashes, and maybe, self-driving is a different story if you're not paying attention. But he was like, so his car was lost that way, but he wanted like, and then he got like, of course, the insurance money to replace the car.
Right.
But finding the specs he wanted, which I think was just that it was black and performance, was hard. And I found one for him in Orlando, Florida, where I had lived previously for half a year. And I was like, hey, this is the thing you want. And so he, did the whole thing to like order it, but he couldn't go. And so he flew me to Orlando, and then I went as him to pick up the car. Like, hi, I'm Jacob.
Oh my
Like,
God.
cool, sign here and all this stuff. And I'm like, cool. And then I drove it from Orlando back to the Gulf Coast of Mississippi where we live. And that was like my first time, not just in like a rental, but like in a long, like in like a road trip. It was like 8 hours.
This was a new car?
Yeah, brand new car. Like I was the first driver, and that was the one that I ended up with now. So like
Wow, it's
but
like
that
destiny.
yeah, that was my first self-driving experience too, because the rentals at my apartment in Orlando didn't have, self-driving at all.
Yeah, they all have it like disabled, or like they don't have like FSD. They have like the lane keep assist, which is neutered and all of that.
I mean, without self-driving, I was just like, this is a really basic, and like no window tint or anything. It was just like vanilla Model 3. I was like, this is a really like basic vehicle. Like, I don't get it. And then once I was like in, then his at the time, I was like, this thing's amazing, because like traffic, wasn't this level of like modern day version of self-driving, but like just to like stop and start in traffic without having to touch anything, or like, it was really cool. And then it was mostly interstate. So when I got back home, I was like, oh, red lights. And I was amazed when it stopped at a red light, and then when it changed, like, so, but then once I took possession of his vehicle, I didn't know about like auto park, where it backs up and parks in a spot for you, stuff like that. So I was, and then it's obviously gotten better since then. So yeah, the trims flying off of Cybertrucks.
No, yeah, I look, I was like the first time that you experience any of this autonomy stuff is like crazy. Have you been in a Waymo? Yeah. No.
Not
right?
yet. No.
Yeah. That's like another level of crazy.
Because you're in the back seat with no person up front, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I would
like
totally trust it too.
it's so like the first time ever that you get into it, you're just sort of like, oh my God, like what is happening? Like I'm hanging on for like dear life, but like actually the ride is like incredibly normal, and it feels exactly like somebody's driving, but there's nobody in the driver's seat. It's
when
like
it was
a little bit spooky, but
Sure. Yeah. When it was first reported that Apple wanted to do an autonomous vehicle with no steering wheel, maybe no windows, maybe there were windows, but no steering wheel, no pedals at all. Just the idea of that, and I'd never been in a self-driving vehicle before. This was before I was in even like the Beep autonomous, bus things in Orlando and Lake Nona. But that report, just reading it, like gave me a nightmare feeling of like anxiety, throat closing up, chest getting tight,
Yeah.
because it's just imagining the situation of like, I'm in a vehicle that I can't control. It's like what I imagine that being like is like driving your car with your eyes closed. You're just like guessing, and that's not actually what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you,
It's
but it's the trust that you have to develop with the vehicle and the system for you to realize it's not like blindfold driving.
yeah.
Although we're not yet to the no steering wheel part.
Also, the new Zeekr ride vehicles have no steering wheel.
Hmm.
So we're pretty close. And also on at least in San Francisco and also Las Vegas, I believe Zoox is going to launch their robot taxi service in Las Vegas pretty soon.
Yeah.
And those are totally custom designed. No, it does not even look like a car at all,
Yeah.
which might honestly help a little bit, with like the uncanny feeling.
Mhm.
But in those, two people sit forward, but two people sit backwards. So not only is there no steering wheel and no pedals and you're not in control, you're also sitting backwards.
Yeah. That's what the Beat bus was or is like. My friend Jacob, like we're best friends from high school. He also went to the what was the event? It was We Robot, where where
Yeah.
Tesla showed the cyber cab design for the first time, and then the robo van or cyber bus, whatever, robo
Yeah.
van.
Cybervan,
And,
I think it's called.
yeah, and he got to like ride, him and his wife got to ride in this cyber cab, but it was a planned route, of course. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not scary at all, and it can just be. And it was like Warner Brothers Studios, so it was like a fake town too.
Yeah.
And then also be in the robo van, and yeah, so he's had a little closer experience to like what Tesla's doing in that area, but you know, it was also like a pre-configured sort of canned thing, and so I mean that's the next thing from Tesla, at least, is if they, not the timeline that the founder gives, but if they do eventually test more aggressively, and then they want to be in Austin this year with Cybercab doing that in, that's no steering wheel at all. It's just like two passenger seats side by side.
Yeah. We'll
You know,
see.
yeah. That's your original episode prediction, is like they don't do it this year, right?
My prediction is they will not have a meaningful taxi service this year.
Okay. And mine was that what, like Chappelle Roan would win best album and she won best artist instead.
Yeah. So you were pretty close. I
Yeah.
think I'll probably also be pretty close.
Okay. Point update: ChatGPT, Mac app. What's the news here?
Yeah. So now it can edit directly in various IDEs, integrated development environments. So that includes Xcode, that includes VS Code, any sort of like those sort of apps.
Have you
And-
used apps like services like Cursor?
Yeah. So Cursor is sort of like another one, although that program is very much developed with sort of like you coding with an assistant in mind.
Mm-hmm.
What is significant here is that you can use any editor of your choice, and
Yeah.
the ChatGPT app will interact with that app and make Cursor happen, more or less.
Right. Have you tried this ChatGPT integration yet?
I've played around with it. I mean, it works. I don't have anything that I'm like really working on right now. So, and I tend to not really use, because I don't want an external program to potentially mess up my code base. So I tend not to go that route.
Do you use autocomplete with Copilot or whatever the version's called for Xcode?
No, I'm old school.
Yeah.
You're talking about so autocomplete and Xcode is pretty trash, I would say.
Okay.
There was a long time when
It's an Apple Intelligence feature, right?
well, now it is.
Yeah.
Before it was not, and it was a lot better because at least it sort of predicted like some of the stuff that I typically use autocomplete for. But now you can start defining a function, and it'll just define like a random like piece of code, and it'll try to autocomplete it for you. But like the code might include like made by, Zac whoever at Twitterific, and it's like, wait, Twitterific is that's not me. That's like literally another company.
Yeah,
That's a
just
little
like
bit
this
sus.
hive mind that it's pulling from, and it's not good. Yeah,
Yeah, and look, this is like the reality of like all large language models right now, right? Like they're all trained on other people's stuff. There's like a whole like ethics and copyright discussion that we can get into over there. But what's more important is it's a statistics black box. It's not actually intelligent. So it's like, what is most likely to be what you want at this current time? Well, if you're defining a new string, then, the most statistically likely thing is maybe you're going to put like a copyright thing in like this area. And what do I have trained for copyright? Oh, this thing from John like 5 years ago.
yeah,
So it just puts the entire thing in there.
yeah. One of these episodes, I want to talk more about ethics in AI and like the statistics, and like the analogy between artificial intelligence and human intelligence, and we'll do that another time.
Yeah.
What about Swift Assist?
It is still MIA, despite being announced almost 2 years ago. Swift Assist is basically sort of like Apple's version of Copilot. It's supposed to be able to generate large portions of code, if not entire apps, if you prompt it hard enough. But it is still very much MIA, and it has not shipped in any meaningful way. So, and this is sort of like the general Apple Intelligence story, which we can talk about like later on. But it's just it's not here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Wow. I'm looking at the press release for Swift Assist from last summer, of course.
Yeah,
with all the Xcode stuff. Okay. Yeah. More on that later. I don't know how to say this next one.
Okay. Manus.
Okay. Thank you.
So they were sort of having a little bit of a DeepSeek moment, I will say, or at least some people were trying to hype it up to be sort of like the next DeepSeek moment. Manus is basically like a general agentic AI tool. It was going viral in China, partly because they had like a wait list to actually get onto the service. Unlike DeepSeek, which sort of just opened up and people are just like, oh yeah, let me use this. Oh, it's so sick. And then they overload the entire thing. But yeah, it looked like it was going to have a DeepSeek moment. And then somebody asked it to give the files located at its base directory. So like op/.manus.
Okay.
And it did. And it turns out that, and this was before the founder actually came out and directly said, yeah, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
It turns out that it's none of this is really like self-developed. It was basically like Claude Sonnet 3.5.
Yeah.
Specifically 3.5 because they didn't have access to 3.7 yet at the time.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's like Claude Sonnet 3.5, and they were using like 29 tools with it. And on top of that, they were using Browser Use, which is a automation tool built by Anthropic, who makes Claude.
Yeah.
And the tool will basically like automate like doing stuff in your browser and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So not only did they find out what they were actually doing in the background, the people were also managed to leak all the prompts that they had used to actually set up Manus. And so, of course, with all this like leaked information, now you can go ahead and build, basically a clone of Manus.
Yeah.
And so there's now an open source version,
Anus.
open source alternative of Manus called Anus.
I mean, if it's Manus, then it's Anus, but it's Uranus. It's the end of Uranus. It's Uranus.
Yeah.
It's planetary.
Yeah, Manus, Anus, but let's be honest, if you just read it, it's butt.
If you take off the butt part from Uranus, then it's Uranus. It's Unus. You don't even have like Yeah, yeah. Hard syllable in there.
Yeah. So anus. I'm just gonna call it anus because it's so funny. It's open source. It's on GitHub. The issues in the issue tracker are predictably incredible. Let's see. Some of these are anus is too tight, needs lube, which stands for yeah, lube stands for logistics unifier for bot ecosystems. There's an issue that is unexpected output from anus. People have requested to add penetration tests to anus.
Oh boy, I can't.
Yeah, exactly. There's requests for butt plug support.
Okay.
IRC applications built with anus won't stop crap flooding. Yeah, just like a whole bunch of stuff. Handle brownout more gracefully.
Okay, so from this point, I can't be myself anymore.
Anus has security holes. Please plug it.
Okay.
Yeah, and just incredible stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, Manus, for bringing the world something so lighthearted.
Yeah.
I love
Nobody.
Claude.
I don't know if anybody's actually used this open source alternative. Like,
Yeah.
actually used it and tried to see if it works. But the issues are where it's at.
It's at least a very creative response
Yeah.
to like would it be fair to say that Manus, instead of having a DeepSeek moment, sort of had a rabbit R1 moment where, like, up front people thought it was like more homegrown, and then it was like, wait, no, it's really this.
Yeah, I think the thing with the rabbit was that it didn't deliver at all. I think Manus generally delivers because it's built on things that have delivered.
Yeah.
So the core technology, like, it works. And credit to them, they didn't, then try to obfuscate it any further. They came out and was like, yeah, this is like what we're using. And for those reasons, it's actually not usable in China, despite having come out of a company that's in China. So, like,
Right.
how does that work? Like, what? Yeah, like, it's interesting they're not using any of the DeepSeek stuff. I don't know. Anyways, so it's sort of like a weird situation. The founder came out and was like, yeah, like, we're using Sonnet 3.5 because we don't have access to 3.7. Of course we're using browser use because it's good, like all of that stuff. And he was like, yeah, like, not hiding anything here.
Yeah. Like, the thing, they're both R1s, Rabbit R1 and DeepSeek R1. And it was just, what kind of R1 moment is it having?
Yeah.
And the thing with the Rabbit was, like, people were like, it's actually just an Android app,
Yeah, but not only was it an Android app, like, most of the stuff on it didn't work at all.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, you're supposed to be able to order DoorDash. You cannot order DoorDash. You're supposed to be able to listen to music on it. Half the time music didn't play. Like, and their whole claim of, like, a large action model doing all of this stuff, it was not. It was a bunch of scripts on a VM that was hosted in the cloud, and like, the scripts broke whenever the UI broke. Like, it was like a shit show. Now, to their credit, they do have a demo of a large action model, but unfortunately for them, it did not run on the R1 itself. And also, other companies have sort of beat them to it, like Operator from OpenAI and browser use from Anthropic. Like, all of those people have basically already beaten them to it.
But,
so,
even OpenAI's Operator isn't great, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
None of them are great, but, like, at least they are purported to work.
Yeah. Rabbit R1, we talked a little while ago about how it's coming to Best Buy. And so I was like, is that still happening? Yeah, it's on the website at least.
Yeah. You know what? They're good at selling the hardware.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They were offering free Rabbit R1s to humane AI pin owners.
Oh, that's clever. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that they could, I don't know, a little bit of good PR from, for the other side, I guess.
I don't think there's not a Best Buy in San Francisco that has inventory in store. And I felt like this is like like what happened with Pebble for me was, oh, it's in stores, let me go and buy it, right? Like impulse purchase kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
here's a cool new gadget to play with. But I don't think I would order it from Best Buy because that's just like ordering it from Rabbit, I feel like.
Yeah.
Unless it was just there in stores. And I'm checking New York as well. Yeah, no. So not in stores
I don't know if
yet.
they're actually in store. Maybe it's just like on the website.
Yeah, which is probably a better fit for Best Buy.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like normies, I say normies, but like normal people are going to go and buy the thing and they're going to figure out like most of it.
Yeah. $200 though, it's not terrible. But
Yeah.
for just have fun with it,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the Manus is doing man things. That's cool. GitHub. Oh, that's the other thing that was there before. That's the get is that from Manus? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're syncing Cybertrucks.
Yeah. In addition to the trim flying off, here the Cybertruck turns out it sinks, does not float, unlike what was claimed.
Yeah.
By head claimer.
Yeah, claimer in chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not very much to say about that. I just thought it was a little bit of a.
It's cute. The way it looks in the water.
Yeah.
Looking at it on electric.
It was trying to launch a jet ski, and somehow it unlaunched itself. Or actually, it did launch itself, but into the water. And sank.
Yeah. Wow. I like to drive my friends Cybertruck.
Yeah, like as a vehicle to drive, it's probably
it just has such a comical like side story to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably like it probably drives, sort of similar to most other electric trucks. I don't know if you've tried it like an F-150 Lightning.
No. I mean, what I felt like when I drive the Cybertruck is it's a large SUV / truck size thing that drives like a sports car.
Yeah.
I mean,
think that's like the general vibe. Like people also get that from like from Lightning and like the Rivian also, because the Rivian R1T is
another R1. Yeah.
Yeah, literally the R1S also. So it is literally also an SUV.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recently drove a Rivian R1S, the SUV, and I had a good time. It was actually surprisingly easy to drive.
I think Rivians are so pretty and they look so good, except for I do not like the headlights at all. Like it reminds me of Mickey Mouse for some reason. Like his eyes.
No, I love the headlights.
Really?
They're so cute.
The unreleased Rivian stuff that they've announced looks really cool, like R2, R3.
All right, R3X is for sure my next car. I don't even have a car right now.
Cool, nice.
But like, if I were gonna get one, that is the one I would get. So RJ, if you're listening to this, probably not. But if you are,
RJ is the original R1.
Yeah, they're gonna get all the way through like from like R through 10, and then they're gonna have to go to the alphabet.
Yeah,
and at some point they're gonna make the RJ.
RX is a prescription. They were the Roman numerals. On the topic of the Cybertruck, let's see. The founder tweet was Cybertruck will be waterproof enough to serve briefly as a boat, so it can cross rivers, lakes, and even seas that aren't too choppy. Probably shallow water. But I mean, it does say as a boat, so no. Our 9to5 Max founder and Electric's founder and publisher, Seth Weintraub, said he finished the tweet from Elon. So Elon Musk had tweeted, I don't know, whatever years ago. Oh, this is from September 2022. So it's September 2022. Elon had said Cybertruck will be waterproof enough to serve briefly as a boat, so it can cross rivers, lakes, and even seas that aren't too choppy. Seth's response then was to quote tweet it and say, then briefly as a submarine, then a coffin. So and that was future foresight.
That's a great prediction, and it seems to have come true.
Yeah. I like the picture of the, this is an electric as well, the picture of the tow truck pulling it out of the water.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
that was pretty funny. To be clear, nobody actually died.
Yeah, it was in a
So,
coffin. There's also
not
a
a coffin.
BYD Yang. Is that real? We're like back to the Manus thing again. BYD Yang Wang.
Yes, the Yangwang.
Sorry, there you go.
It's
You're better than me.
but, it's just the
Natural.
the Asian
Yeah.
in me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that thing actually does forge rivers.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, Ford rivers.
Mm-hmm. So they put out a video where they showed like it actually doing that.
Yeah, it actually does work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like a scuba and everything. It's like, I don't know. Chinese EVs are crazy.
Yeah. The BYD, like I've watched BYD stuff on YouTube, and it seems like the hardware is awesome and the software is nowhere close yet, especially with things like route planning.
Yeah, I think they have very different priorities.
Sure.
Like China's thing is very much like, look at all the capabilities we can do. Whether or not they work like well is another matter, but they mainly get things right if it's like a priority.
Yeah.
Until very recently, software was not really a priority, but they're also rapidly catching up. Like the software in the Li Auto cars, not affiliated with BID, but they're like a startup. The Li Auto cars, like the Li Mega, like the crazy looking van. I got to try that one. They have a bunch of like these SUVs, but the software in those cars are fantastic. I mean, they've got like Dolby Atmos and like Dolby Vision on like the screens. They're like 8K screens at like 90 hertz or something.
Are they OLED?
Yeah. They're like OLED displays. It's crazy. Or
That's
like
cool.
it looks like OLED. Maybe they're like mini LED or something.
Yeah.
But like the contrasts are crazy. They've got like, I've got a video on this on my YouTube channel. I'll throw it up here. But it's like the software experience is fantastic. When I was trying it out, it was super snappy and everything was really intuitive. It was even localized in English, even though it's not being sold in any English-speaking territories. I mean, the thing is crazy.
I looked up what. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say like they're for sure like they're catching up. Like if they really wanted to, they absolutely can.
Yeah.
And I think they have in this case, but just not with BYD. BYD is a little bit janky still.
Yeah, I was looking up what is BYD. I love like knowing what acronyms stand for.
BYD is Build Your Dreams.
I do see that, but I also see BYD feels like a backronym where it's or Build Your Dreams feels like a backronym where like it's an acronym and like you apply backward like in after the fact you apply a meaning to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like according to this website wikipedia.org, it's the help me out here, but BYD is the pinyin initials of the company's Chinese name, Biadi. Help me out, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Chinese, it's called BRD.
Okay.
But the thing is,
Which sounds like BYD.
yeah, it is. It basically it came from BYD. So BYD, I believe, if I'm not incorrect, originally it was Build Your Dreams.
Okay.
And that was a translation from the Chinese, which I don't quite remember now, but they translated to English and then they named the company BYD because that's the initials, like Build Your Dreams, BYD.
Yeah.
Right. But everybody sees that now. And so now in Chinese, the way that they say it, instead of saying BYD, they say BRD.
Yeah.
So it's sort of come around full circle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like some of these Chinese names like work that way. Like, I can't think of any one off the top of my head, but some of them come like they start out with something else and then they translate it English and then the English one takes off more and then they translate it back, but it's not really a translation. It's like they're pronouncing the English words, but it becomes like the Chinese version.
Yeah.
It's roundabout that way, but it's stuck now and everybody says that.
Like LG, which is South Korean. I looked this up when I was in middle school, and I was just so fascinated by like this kind of like fact just interested me at the time, or it still does. Like Lucky Gold Star is what LG stands for, And
but now it's like life's good.
exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Samsung. It's like the stars, right, in Korean.
Oh,
Because originally the logo was like the 3 stars.
yeah. This is I love Wikipedia. It's so good.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to tell my kids about Wikipedia because they I talked about this on the first episode, but like misinformation and like, intentional like redirect, stuff like that is like, there's actually this place that I used to be heavily criticized for being so editable and like could be anything that wasn't true, and no one wanted you to use it. But if you look at the links, it's helpful. I want to show them Wikipedia.
Yeah, if you need citations.
Yeah, in like an intentional way. Okay, I think we're gonna punt on Apple stuff until next week, but I do want to mention that Mark Gurman at Bloomberg, the aforementioned, had a story today that's brand new, which is that the thing that we'll punt on discussing is the Siri AI Apple Intelligence delay. The news of today is that there was this meeting. There's an executive that we've never heard of named Robbie Walker who runs Siri and reports to AI chief John Giandria. And in the meeting, there was a call for intense personal accountability. Do you have the fun quote from the meeting in front of you? If not, I'll look for it real fast. It was the swim thing. Okay, I found it. So Walker compared the endeavor to an attempt to swim to Hawaii. This is Walker speaking now. Quote: "We swam hundreds of miles. We set a Guinness Book for World Records for swimming distance, but we still didn't swim to Hawaii." End quote. New quote. "And we were being jumped on, not for the amazing swimming that we did, but the fact that we didn't get to the destination." End quote. So that's they're aware. They're aware.
Yeah. I saw this in the threads post by your colleague Chance
Miller. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention it here because Happy Hour, my little podcast, records on Thursday, and they don't know this yet. Although our release schedule, who knows what will happen. We're getting back on track. That was all my fault. In the report, Gurman writes, he added that some employees, quote, might be feeling embarrassed. This is Walker speaking now. "You might have coworkers or friends or family asking what happened, and it doesn't feel good," Walker said. "It's very reasonable to feel all these things," end quote. He said others are feeling burnout and that his team will be entitled to time away to recharge, to get ready for, quote, "plenty of hard work ahead." That's easy to make fun of, but I like that so much. That's good. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know how, like, why did this happen?
Yeah. I mean, and they also call out, I don't have it in front of me, but there was, I believe there was an acknowledgement of that it never should have occurred to market a feature that didn't even feel releasable on device when they were testing internal builds. So, which is, obviously some of the problem here. They had 3 Apple Intelligence ads for iPhone 16 that the advertisement was Apple Intelligence is here, which was made fun of because it actually wasn't here yet, except in beta. A month later, it was here, but only like the first wave, which was writing tools. Before there was Genmoji and Image Playground and other things. No changes to Siri initially. Then they added the color animation and they added product knowledge about Apple products. Then they added ChatGPT integration where you could hand off to ChatGPT using Siri. So they had 3 ads. They were all with Bella Ramsey. And one of them was for the feature that was delayed last week indefinitely, sort of, but they say in the coming year it will be available, whatever the coming year means. But the ad showed Bella Ramsey being recognized by someone at a party, and the person's coming over and she can't remember their name, and so she asked her iPhone, she asked Siri, who did I have a meeting with last month at this cafe? And it said, whatever the name was, John, something else. But And then the guy walks over and she says, "Hey, John," or whatever his name was. But that was Apple Intelligence, Siri, using personal context from messages and email and calendar to give that information in a matter of seconds. That feature has never been in beta. Was announced, expected in iOS 18.4. Based on Mark Gurman's reporting, Apple never gave a deadline for it, but then they actually did announce a week ago. They gave John Gruber at Daring Fireball a statement that read, this is from Jackie Roy, who is an Apple PR person, pretty high up there. She gave this statement that reads, make the text larger for myself, Siri helps our users find what they need and get things done quickly. And in just the past 6 months, we've made Siri more conversational, introduced new features like Type to Siri and Product Knowledge, and added an integration with ChatGPT. We've also been working on a more personalized Siri, giving it more awareness of your personal context, as well as the ability to take action for you within and across your apps. It's going to take us longer than we thought to deliver on these features, and we anticipate rolling them out in the coming year. And that's the end quote from Jackie Roy. Gruber adds that... Gruber adds that this is a Friday sort of... This is the text, wah wah, sad trombone news drop, but it's good that Apple's getting on top of it and setting expectation. Actually, since he's written a lot more about this, and I want to, we'll jump into this more next week. So there's a teaser. I also want to talk about the iOS 19 and macOS 16 redesign rumor from Mark Gurman, and more there. We want to talk about some of this stuff, but I want to get to a few things before we head off for this week. Which first, your pull request, your win. What's good this week, Sophia?
Yeah. So my pull request is the Nintendo store in San Francisco, the second such store in the entirety of the U.S. The first one is in New York, which is why I'm wearing this shirt.
Nintendo New York.
Yeah, but the second one is going to be in San Francisco. This was actually announced quite a while back, I believe, like last year. But now they just announced an opening date, I think yesterday or something. And the opening date is May 15th. So you can bet that I will be there on the ground, boots on the ground, taking a look. I don't know if I'm going to wait in line to get into the store, but...
You're going to camp out the night before.
Yeah, apparently they have San Francisco specific stuff, so I might have to camp out and get some of that stuff.
I bet you could get a Nintendo San Francisco shirt.
Yeah, I would like that. Nintendo San Francisco. The New York one is like one of my favorite shirts. I think it's a really nice shirt. And
is that like gold, like
yeah,
gold?
This is gold. It's like reflective.
Nintendo logo, New York underneath in all caps.
Yeah.
Reflective gold on a black tee. Looks good.
Yeah. Sorry, Nintendo All Rights Reserved logo.
Sorry.
Logo.
Registered trademark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little R.
Yeah, the R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Nintendo. Yeah, I'm really excited about that. It's going to be in Union Square. It's going to be right below like a historic hotel, like on a street corner. Mm-hmm. It's a huge location, and if I don't know if you heard anything about San Francisco, but retail wise, it's not doing the best right now. But hopefully, they're going to get this anchor tenant, I guess what they call it, into Union Square, and it's hopefully going to revive a lot of the area around it. There's also like new bakeries and stuff opening there.
Yeah, I love the Union Square Apple store.
Oh yeah, it's one of the
several years ago.
Yeah, one of the best, I think.
It's like loaded with trees. I went in 2016, and there was AirPods weren't out yet, but there was like a giant AirPod, like illustration on the wall, and I've got a picture that my colleague Jordan Kahn took of me where I'm like holding it. Oh, and I was like, I thought these would be smaller. So.
Yeah, on like sunny days, they open up the front of the entire store.
Yeah,
and it's just like, it just leads right onto the square, and it's so cool.
Yeah, I often feel like Apple stores that are so beautiful are like, okay, but then they're still at the core of them. They're like a little electronics retail store that doesn't have like stuff that's more interesting than like an ugly store. This one is different. This one is like a greenhouse. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo
Tons and
store
tons.
opening up. Is it going to be like this level? Like, what does a Nintendo store look like?
What is the Nintendo store going to look like? I don't
Yeah.
know. It doesn't seem like they've renovated any of the outside because that's part of the hotel.
Sure. Okay.
But as far as I understand, the inside is like going to be totally different. It's a really large store, but I think it's going to be one floor, if I'm not mistaken. If it is where I think it is, based on, and I did like when they first announced the store, I did like a little digging, like trying to see like which property recently got rented or got rented in like the last year or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think I have the correct place, and if I do, it's on the corner of I believe it's Geary and Powell, and it's a big space, but it is probably only one floor.
All right. Nintendo SF coming soon, May 15th.
Yeah, May 15th.
How is your Mario Day, which is March 10th, because if you write out MAR and then 10, it makes Mario.
Yeah, I'm still celebrating Mario Day. In fact, this jacket that I'm wearing, this is the one from Nintendo Tokyo.
Oh,
and
Nintendo Tokyo.
It has a little Fire Mario here.
One of the goats, yeah.
And it has the castle here. And actually, if I zip up this jacket, it's meant to be the flagpole that Mario slides down.
Ooh.
So
Checkpoint, level finished, jacket zipper activity happening on screen.
There's the flag.
Oh, that's cute. Cool.
And this is the top of the flagpole. Like so. And he just slides down like that.
More jacket demonstration happening on screen.
Yeah.
For the audio listeners.
It is so cool. This jacket is so cool.
That is cool. That's nice. That's cool. Get a new jacket next week or next month or May 15th.
Yeah, they come out with one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, anything new with the Switch?
Oh yes, there was a rumor that something was going to get announced also on May 15th. I don't know if there's any substance to any of that.
Yeah.
It's more of like people are hungry for the Switch 2. We know there's going to be something on April. I don't remember it. It's like April something. I'll put it up here.
April 31st.
Is it 31st?
I don't think there's 31 days in April. Might be. I don't think there are.
Yeah, it's like April something. Like they're gonna announce something to do with the Switch 2.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But
nice.
Yeah.
Dropped my dog and hit my face on the microphone.
Okay.
Oh man, that's cool.
Here.
When we were at Universal, me and the kids, they were asking, is there a Mario thing here? And I was like, no, that's a Nintendo theme park. It's totally separate. And I think that exists, right?
The Nintendo theme park is in Universal, California. Yes.
Okay. I think there's something in Japan based on my Google search.
There's also, the original one was in Japan, and then they opened one in Universal, California.
Mm-hmm. And there's one coming. This is what I learned after the fact from my friend who works there. There's just that it will be part of Universal Epic, which is like their third theme park.
Yes.
Opening soon. And the day that I was there at Universal with the kids, my friend Astrid was at Epic for an employee-only day. No customers, no lines, just
wow,
pure theme park experience. So.
Dang, imagine. Oh.
Yeah, I did a half marathon at Disney World in 2019, I believe. And part of the half marathon, or, part of the race experience was that it was through Disney World. And it started, like the route was out of Disney World, but then it like ran through Disney World. And it started before Disney World opened. And so some of the people who were a part of the race, there were also like stations with characters set up, and like you could like sit in line and take pictures with the characters as part of the race. I was just trying to do my best half marathon time ever, and I think I did. Yeah, I did. I don't know. It's been a while. I ate way too much food the day before by doing a Disney day on my own as an adult. But the race, though, people that were in the race that just did not care about their runtime. they were riding rides, like because there were no lines and they were allowed to. And that to me it was just like fun if that's what you want to do. For me, I was like, I just want to beat my time, and man, I ate way too much food yesterday. And then the world closed for a while, and I was gonna do a Star Wars one, and then there were no more races, and I stopped running and haven't began again in a meaningful way. So there's that.
Fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding. Before we conclude today's episode, I want to share a brief content note. The final segment contains a personal story that touches on sensitive topics, including loss, mental health challenges, and identity-based discrimination. If you are not in a place to engage with emotional, difficult content right now, please take care of yourself, whether that means pausing, skipping to another episode, or reaching out to someone you trust. Your well-being comes first. For anyone who may need support, here are some resources. 988, that's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline in the United States. Call or text 988 or visit 988lifeline.org for 24/7 confidential support. The Trevor Project for LGBTQ+ youth. Call 1-866-488-7386 or text STAR to 678678 or visit thetrevorproject.org for crisis support. Trans Lifeline. Call 877-565-8860 for any peer support by and for trans individuals. Crisis Text Line. Text HELLO to 741-741 to connect with a trained crisis counselor. And the National Alliance on Mental Health Illness Helpline. Call 1-800-950-NAMI, that's 6264, or visit nami.org for mental health support and resources. Thanks for listening. I wanted to end this week with a shared experience that occurred this past week. On Sunday, my daughter, Emily, she's 12. She received a FaceTime call from her friend Jackson, who I believe is 10. And we were in the parking lot at a Dollar General store. And I was in the front seat. Rory and Emily were in the back seat. And I could hear Jackson on FaceTime. They only started FaceTiming pretty recently because they go to Parks and Rec after school together. And they became friends that way. They play Roblox together as well on FaceTime. And I was sort of like known about this friendship because I think Emily was a little bit nervous or self-conscious and afraid of being made fun of because Jackson is 2 years younger than her. But they have, and when you're 12 and you're like, I don't know, but
Fair, yeah.
But like she's a really good friend to Jackson apparently. And I like that a lot. So what he said on the FaceTime call, though, was that his sister, he said his sister died in her sleep last night.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And so my kid's reaction, Emily's reaction initially was, no, she didn't. What? Like, Jackson has a younger sister named Charlie, and she goes to Parks and Rec with my kids as well. And so that's the only sister that they knew about, I believe. And they would, and he was like, you could tell in his voice, like he was kind of modest, it's a little quiet tone, and clearly a little sad, or sad, and it was. I didn't know if he was serious either because of my kid's reactions. It was like, no, I didn't know about his family at all. But it turns out that it was true, and once we realized he's not just saying this, it's something that actually happened to him, or we should at least take it seriously. Then they did, of course, and my dad instinct was to equip Emily with really, really quick guidance on how to handle the conversation, because as an adult, if someone tells you that their sibling died, that's a hard thing to handle.
Yeah.
as a kid, I can't even imagine. And so I did I just wanted to, I didn't even think about it. I did a ChatGPT prompt for right advice for my 12-year-old daughter. Her friend's 17-year-old sister died 7 days before his birthday. She had depression. He's very sad. And of course, it gave, a numbered list of things to do in that situation. It began with, that's a really tough situation for her friend and for your daughter to process. Here's some advice to give her. And I read over it. It's be kind and be a steady friend, and let him feel how he feels. There's no right way to grieve, so don't pressure him to feel better. Continue to show up and so on. And I just handed her my phone and I, mouth sort of like, read this, and she did. And I witnessed that helping her with how to handle this conversation. So just as an aside, that was like an instinctual use of AI that I felt was helpful in that moment as a dad who just reacted to the situation in the best way I knew how to. And for the kids, so Rory is 7, and he said, initially she's just getting beauty rest, like he didn't know that it was a serious thing that happened, and that was just the thing that came to his mind. And for my daughter Emily, whenever she realized that this is a thing to believe that happened, she said, she didn't have sleep apnea, did she? Like that's something that she thought, to bring up. And, that just kind of shows you the innocence and everything of kids, and in such a heavy situation. But I have to say that I'm proud of how she responded. And I'm especially grateful that Jackson has this friendship with Emily, and that they have this connection from anywhere over FaceTime, and this, friendship from in person and spending time playing Roblox together that gave him a person to call and tell. It was 15 minutes after he learned what had happened. His mom, said, your sister, she died in her sleep last night. She had something wrong in her, in her brain. And so that was, I thought about that throughout the week. And that was, I thought about it from the perspective of like, it just gives me such clear identity as, purpose is like to raise my daughter to be such a person that can respond to those situations in the way that she did, and to be able to, guide her in a way that I can, and that it has a meaningful impact on the world, in this kid's life, as he goes through a tough time. So that was the beginning. And then we got Jackson had asked his mom if Emily could attend his sister Jordan's memorial service. And so we did, and I took her, and that too was, this was yesterday. It was such a, emotional day for so many reasons, but the most obvious thing there is that my 12-year-old daughter is being, a friend to this 10-year-old boy because his 17-year-old sister passed away. And this is like his, this is his relief at the funeral service. And it was so cool to see her sort of like serve him and his needs in that day, and learn from their mom that he hasn't talked about it with anybody except for Emily. And, that means a lot to them. And after the service, Emily went over and they went swimming, and had this nice afternoon. And so that was pretty cool. It was also heavy for me because I shared this in the previous iteration of this podcast, Watch Time, but I'd get pretty personal about mental health issues. And in 2019, before the Disney half marathon race, in that summer, I was meant to go to WWDC, and I came down with shingles at
Oh,
the
wow.
at the ripe age of 28, and like the doctor's instructions were like, you've got to really de-stress, and if you want to go on this trip and everything, and it was painful, and I took medication to sort of manage the pain. And when I finished the medication, of course, it was like this humongous crash, mentally and emotionally. And,
Yeah.
I'd, at that point, I'd been through a lot, loss of a parent, to cancer, loss of a marriage, to, the challenges of being with someone, growing up with someone, and, different challenges there. And, I found myself sort of, I wasn't thinking that there was really an issue, but a friend, Jacob, back to Jacob, he felt like there was a, situation with me that needed to be addressed. And so, he came over, and I was pretty despondent, and, we talked, and I decided from that situation to go to the hospital, and I spent 3 days at the hospital, and and that was a whole experience. But all through my life, like when I was in high school, I dealt with depression and didn't realize it. In college, I failed out because of depression and didn't know at the time. And since I'd say since 2013, I've taken antidepressants and gone to therapy regularly, and been I sort of learned that the way that I felt wasn't like the baseline for everybody, and that this is sort of a different thing from the baseline, and it needs to be treated proactively and everything. Otherwise, things can get unmanageable in life.
Yeah.
But to go in with that perspective of this 17-year-old girl who, fell to suicide, it was heavy for, I felt very empathetic, and, was looking at the pictures and everything, and, it's just like, of her life. And, it was really that it weighed on me. And, I was just I was very, in my head yesterday, and thinking through all of it. And through the service, I learned that Jordan was driven by love and by empathy. And the empathy probably came from the fact that she had experienced a lot of issues in her life. She came out as transgender and courageously in high school, which illuminated just her life entirely. Part of the presentation was, when she put on her first dress, she came to life in a way that she'd never had before. And I felt that, that I have a number of trans friends that I was able to talk to Emily about and say, this person and this person and this person that I care deeply about, and I feared for them, their safety, because of how society has taken this acceptance of what trans hate can be. And we talked about, that we talked about depression that I felt, and everything. And it was just a really heavy day and all. And, this is the second suicide that my daughter's learned about from someone in her school system. There was another girl a couple of years ago now, a year and a half ago now, who was in middle school and committed suicide, and was sort of, in the same, she knew of the same people that were in this group of friends. And, that was bullying that led to that result, that awful result. And in this case, bullying was another theme, of course. And, I came away from the day proud of my daughter for who she's becoming, in awe of the resilience of Jackson, this 10-year-old, for his instinct to connect with someone he trusted. I think that was just beautiful, and inspired by Jordan's courage not to hide her existence, and to be yourself. And I felt that this happened not because being a teenager is hard, not because high school can be miserable, it can be, and not because kids can be mean, they can be, but because trans hate is taught and propagated and accepted in society today, and that it's barbaric. And for a society as sophisticated as ours, it's embarrassing. And I, wanted to share that love is as powerful as hate is violent, and that the right thing to do always is simple. There's the saying, treat others like you'd want to be treated, the golden rule. What came to mind for me was to treat other people like their life depends on it, because it may, it did for her. It has for me, it has for so many people, depression or not, transgender or not, just we're humans, we have a shared human experience. And so, so that was yesterday. And, I've got this beautiful photo of Jackson. He had a Polaroid camera and he was taking pictures of the day, and this awesome picture I took from my phone of him taking a picture of my daughter Emily that was just beautiful. I didn't know Jordan, met her parents, and it was a very just moving day. And going forward, one thing I want to do, I talked to the parents and said, like, hey, if you want to just talk about what happened. I sensed, of course, anger in the father, and that if you want to just talk about it, yell, get mad, get a drink, whatever, let's do that. I also felt today, like, I'm a storyteller by nature, and I would love to sit with the family and get to know them better, get to know Jordan better, her life, and be captured in a way that I think that they can share and encapsulate her life in a way that touches other people. And then I'd love to write sort of a, narrative story of who Jordan was. So, I just wanted to share that from this past week.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It very, very moving from my perspective. It's, yeah.
The Elon stuff is like, there's so many different angles to go about it. And, it's never lost on me that I take pride in being a father, a single father, and that sort of my value in being being who I am is in that. And I have a number of trans friends, and it's just I do not understand trans hate. And so two things, one, having lots of children that you're not an everyday and present father for, it really bothers me. And then also the statement he made about his daughter that, he lost his son. She died of the woke mind virus. Like, just that it's never lost on me, no matter how much I am intrigued by SpaceX and enjoy, my car and exist on the X platform, formerly Twitter. It's like those two things. It's like that's. And I don't forget those things. And yeah, I wish the world were different. I hope it can be different.
I agree. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's very incredibly moving. To be honest, it was not what I expected when you said you wanted to share something personal at the end of the show, but I appreciate it all the same. And it's incredible. I don't really know what to say to follow up to that. But
yeah, I tell you what, let's wrap up the show because I've got to go and pick up my kids, and we'll talk more in future episodes and offline and otherwise. But thanks for hearing me out, and thanks for everyone who listens. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my thoughts are absolutely with Jordan, her family, and it's absolute tragedy. The state of the current world as it is, but it's also just like to lose somebody so young. It's maybe we'll have a segment where I'll talk about my struggles.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
If I wasn't out of time, and
yeah, go get your kids.
Yeah, I gotta go get them. Otherwise,
go get your kids.
Otherwise, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So,
all right. Well, that's the show for this week.
That's right.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, as always. Make sure to. There you go.
Wait, no.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure to follow the show. If you are not already, I think, yeah, we're on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're maybe on Spotify.
We'll
We'll
find
see
out.
about
That's a good
that.
reminder. Also, tell your friends. That's the best way, I think, to grow a podcast. Just tell your friends if you think someone would enjoy this. If you're like us and you like to talk about technology or at least hear it,
Yeah,
because no one in your life cares.
yeah,
That's what we're here for. It helps us too. Promise.
yeah. Please be parasocial with us.
That's right. That's right. And then we'll eventually meet up and everything will be great. Cool.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for
being
listening,
here.
y'all.
We'll be back in a timely fashion.
Indeed.